Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Gaming Mix podcast, your official podcast from analogstickgaming.com. Of course, if you don't know me by now, I'm one of the co-owners, Jordan, and way over on my right today, we have the founder, Jeff. But in the middle, we have our good friend from the Outerhaven, Mr. Keith Mitchell. How are you doing, sir?
I'm wondering why I'm in the middle.
I don't know. Maybe it just I guess you're kind of the mid ground between me and Jeff, because
well, I mean, yeah, like the website's for his website's not the Outerhaven.
Bro, I'm like the most extreme person you know. I should be on the outer. See, outer. Come on.
Outer. Yeah, true. True. But then what I would argue is that if you don't know my career, people, without Keith Mitchell, I wouldn't be in this line of work, and therefore I wouldn't be the co-owner of Analog Stick Gaming. So you're kind of the connective bridge between me and Jeff, in a way.
No, I don't connect things. I break things.
Well, have you played Death Stranding? You probably connected things if you played that game.
I just wanted to kill people.
You cause big ass craters.
Oh god. But yeah, we've got some news today, and if you've seen the thumbnail and title, Jeff is going to do some talking about Pragmata later on, which he has played the most of currently because he's finished the game, and you can read his review right now. We will have a review on the Outerhaven from our colleague Andrew, who at the time of recording is in the process of writing his review. And if I've done my job correctly, we will also have a video review on the Outerhaven's YouTube channel, because apparently that's my job now. Keith's clapping because I've taken some work away from him because he is a very busy person.
You can take all of the work. All. I won't mind. Please do.
But it's unusual because Keith wouldn't normally be on the podcast today, but he isn't at his day job currently because he's starting a new job very soon. So we have the pleasure of him joining us here today. So where should we start? We should probably start with some movie discussion, right? Because there's been a gaming movie that has come out recently. I'm not sure if you're aware of it. It's the second Mario movie, and you could argue it's actually a Star Fox movie, but let's get into that, shall we?
Who here has seen it besides me?
All of us. We've all
I've
seen
it 10 times now.
Nice. Yeah, like it's for me, it's kind of weird that it's getting such backlash. Like, I actually like it better than the first one, but just by a little bit. Like the Star Fox part where like they're all wearing his jacket and he's like sick. Like I love that part so much. We laughed. Yeah, it's what we'll do is we'll do kind of like first impressions of kind of like what we thought about it, and then we'll
because we don't want to spoil it too much for people because we know there are people that haven't yet seen the movie. Yeah. So,
but yeah, like I absolutely loved it. I thought that it kind of did things that I wanted the first one to do, but they didn't, because like Mario and Luigi are kind of separated during the first one for quite a bit. So this one here has them kind of like teaming up and like, adding Yoshi and whatnot, and Yoshi was great. I had my mind blown when I discovered that Donald Glover was the voice of Yoshi, because that really made no sense. But no, I think like the story built around Rosalina is nice, even though I don't know if it really reflects canon that well, considering some of the storybook.
It's not canon at all. The movies aren't canon, so don't let it.
No, like in terms of like kind of where they go with Rosalina's origins, just because like Mario Galaxy and Mario Galaxy 2 or whatever have that storybook that show like glimpses of her parents, I guess. And the theory in the video game world was that Rosalina was the daughter somehow of Peach and Mario based off the silhouettes of her parents, but they go a completely different route. this way. But no, I liked it. I thought the pacing was really good. I thought the stuff with Bowser was excellent. Bowser Jr. was super fun. And like Peach had a lot. They did way more stuff in regards to paying homage to Mario. Like they had the Mario Maker thing, so he was going through like all of that stuff. They even paid homage to Mario 2, which is technically Doki Doki Panic, and the fact that they had Wart and all that, those characters there. So that was interesting, but I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, I echo everything that you just said. I think it was definitely better than the first movie. Like, I liked the first movie. Not everybody did, but I actually quite enjoyed the first movie. But this one is definitely unquestionably better in my opinion, just from a pacing standpoint, from a character standpoint. There's so much more going on here, and what I really liked the most was the fact that they actually gave Star Fox a meaningful part in this movie. It wasn't just like some small cameo that didn't mean anything. And I'm sure we'll talk about, other potential things in the future without spoiling things. But it's like,
to add on the Star Fox part, I'm not a huge fan of Star Fox. Not majorly. Like it's not a franchise that I really liked. I liked playing as Star Fox in the Battle for Atlas, that Ubisoft game where you could literally just play as Star Fox and through the whole campaign. That was cool. But if you told me like even a month ago that I would be interested in seeing a Star Fox animated film, I would have told you no. Now, absolutely.
Yeah. The power of Glenn Powell, people. That's what I say. But Keith, you, I believe, actually saw it before any of us, and you've kind of seen more of it than any of us because you tell us that story.
So the first time we went to go see the movie, we went to a IMAX screening, and throughout, I want to say maybe the second half of the movie, right after they get out of a certain Peach fight scene, the projector kept going on and off. It would keep flashing and then on and then off and then on and then off, and then it would get worse and then it would get worse. And I think maybe after we did it like 8 times, I walked out. I was like, I'm gonna go talk to these people, see what the hell is going on. Come to find out, there's already 5 people out there talking to the people, and they're like, "Oh yeah, the projector is broke." And then eventually, more people came out, and it was like the screen's completely black. So they're like, "All right, we're going to give you back your money, and we're going to give you tickets to come back and see it again, or tickets to go see the theater." Or my family was like, "We're not going back to this theater." They already had issues with this theater in particular, so we didn't go back. So we took the money and we brought tickets to another place for another day. So we went back and saw it again. So it's like, oh, so yeah, I've seen it multiple times, but I will echo a lot of what you guys said. I did like this one better than the first one, and I've seen a lot of people go that this one has no story. It has a story. It's just the movie moves at such a breakneck pace that they're cramming so much stuff in there, so many cameos, so many different games, so many different references that it just goes by so fast. It's kind of like they're like, me and Moto was like, I want all the things in here, and we don't have enough time to dwell on things. Like,
Yeah.
oh, we got Super Mario and Super Mario 2 in there, and people are like, wait, what? Super Mario 2? What? And then you've got like Sunshine, you've got Pikmin, you've got all these other things in there. I'm still waiting to see if there's a F-Zero in there. I'm pretty sure there's probably something in the spaceport, but we'll have to wait and see. But I've always been a big Star Fox fan. I'll be right back.
Okay. That's interesting.
He's going to
But,
get the keys to the real F-Zero or the real spaceship.
Oh wow! Look, he really is.
Oh, that's
So
from
this
the Battle for
Starlink,
Atlas.
yeah. So they did a promotion for when it came to the Switch, and they released this. It came with it. So it's kind of funny. That game did not do well. So stores were selling this thing like dirt cheap.
And it was the best Star Fox game too.
So if you guys can find that, go get it, because this is the only way you'll get an R-Wing. The only way. There are no toys out there.
And that game was like, that is such a hidden gem for me. Like it played so well. I thought it was like, it was so much fun.
It was. So that but I love the fact that not only did Star Fox get shown in the movie, but it wasn't just a cameo. He actually had decent lines. He actually had some some substance. He was helping the brothers and Peach and Toad. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to say it. He definitely shined when he was piloting his R wing and fighting Koopa and his son. It was just like, please give me a
Yeah.
movie of this now, please.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I like how
I
he
need
was
that.
like putting Slippy or whatever completely under the bus.
I love that he's like, this is what you get. You let a frog. I was like, see,
Your
and then you
mechanic.
got the cameo of Slippy, like Fox.
Yeah. Yeah.
I also like the fact if you
Luigi's
actually,
like, do a barrel roll.
I also like the fact that they slipped something in there. I don't think a lot of people actually recognize it, but if you're a fan of Star Fox, you really understand the story of what's happening. So this might be spoiler. Sorry, you do know, as you mentioned, where it was like Team Star Fox, right? And how he had a connection with the, I always say the name, the Lumias.
Hmm.
Now remember, Star Fox had issues with his father. Remember that?
Mhm.
So he connected with them, and they were like his adopted kids. He didn't just take care of Mario and Luigi and Peach and them getting to the place. He actually was with them the entire time. It was like, wow. And he was happy. He wasn't like, oh, these goddamn things are in my way. He was enjoying himself, especially when like the Team Star Fox, and he was like, sweet. Loved it. I loved everything they did with Star Fox. It made him such a, not that he wasn't a relevant character for people who didn't know who Star Fox is, or I should say, sorry, Fox McCloud. They do know who he is now. Which
Yes,
is why I
definitely.
really hope the rumors of the game are true. Because
I mean, I think that I'll be honest. So I won't spoil the after the credits thing. I'll just say make sure you stay. Um, but what I will say is that I don't think you have Star Fox in this movie cast an actor who is as hot right now as Glenn Powell to play the part without it meaning something outside of just this movie, you know? And that can be a game, that can be another animated movie like Jeff's talking about. I think that this was almost their way of bringing Star Fox to a new audience so that when they do announce a new game eventually, all the young kids will be like, "Oh, look, it's that guy from that movie, you know, that we watched."
There's a Star Fox movie that's rumored for this summer, which is probably around the time that this movie hits Blu-ray.
True.
I hope so.
True.
Yeah, I keep seeing rumors, and all I can say is I really hope so. And if there is, Nintendo is doing a great job with not showing it off or saying anything. Because I was Nintendo and I had a Star Fox game coming, I'd be like, it's coming.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because people will be hyped about that, you know. So
Oh yeah.
so we'll see. We'll see. But we will briefly talk about something that Keith doesn't care about, and that is wrestling, only to say that on our next episode,
Wrestling.
myself and Jeff will do some WrestleMania predictions. We will break down everything that's going to happen, and we will talk about it there. So make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're looking for that discussion. But before we get into the news, Jeff, I believe we should have a little quick word from our friends over at NordVPN, right?
Yeah, I'm going to bring up their website to see what sales are going on. And they got a new sale. All right, so NordVPN right now, if you go to nordvpn.com/analogstickgaming, you'll find that you can get 75% off NordVPN right now. So for me, instead of spending $15 or $14.49 per month, I can spend $3.79. NordVPN allows you to basically just browse the internet kind of anonymously. It also allows you to kind of get content that you don't get in your general region. So if you're hearing these really cool shows that are on Netflix and your Netflix doesn't have it, switch it to that country, browse onto Netflix and get what you have been missing. There's also the password NordVPN password program that you can check out on any of our news pages. You can click the link right there and get savings on all that stuff. And again, that is nordvpn.com/analogstickgaming and get saving and surfing the web today.
Great. Well, now we should probably jump into the news because although it's been a quieter week, there has been some news. So where should we start, Jeff?
Let's take a look here. So we'll go with this Gunzilla Games article. All right, so I've played Off the Grid. I think it was one of the more kind of engaging battle royale games. But there's a little bit more to this story than just that game. So, former and current staff at Gunzilla Games, which is the publisher and developer of blockchain game Off the Grid and owner of US games publication Game Informer, said that the company has not been paying salaries for months. Workers at the company have taken to social media to complain about this, including talent acquisition lead Anna Savina, who, as spotted by Insider Gaming, publicly said that they had experienced significant salary delays with no explanation. Savina subsequently updated her post to say that the situation has been resolved. In the comments on Savina's post are other Gunzilla staff. One former worker, principal hard service artist Alexandra, I'm not pronouncing that last name, holy heck, who left the company in October, said that he had not been paid for his work in August and September. His situation is echoed exactly by fellow former principal weapon and hard service arter Anton Karin. Elsewhere, and finally, Canadian contractor Paul Creamer said that he had not been paid since October of 2025. Despite this, he worked on Gunzilla until December on the presumption that he would be paid for his work. So there has been like some update to this story from the people that essentially run it and say that there's like some payment system problem, I guess, with kind of how this is going. Let me bring it up here. All right. So it says the CEO of blockchain game development studio Gunzilla Games has posted a lengthy and defiant response to claims that the studio doesn't pay its contractors. So it says, hold on, I'm bringing it here. All right. So it says that VGC had contacted Gunzilla for comment on the acquisitions, but instead, Gunzilla CEO Vlad Korolev has taken to Twitter to address the situation, claiming that haters are trying to paint a narrative to make the studio look bad. Korolev conceded that the company's payments were made at a time that suited the company and not those being paid, then stated that full-time official employees were paid on time. Many of the claims were made by contractors, not employees. Off the Grid today is not just part of Web3 gaming, it defines it, whether some people like it or not. Being named Web3 Game of the Year 2 years in a row, today there is a new narrative from haters that Gunzilla incorrectly laid off contractors or paid them with delays. Yet we are optimizing costs like every company in gaming, crypto, and tech is doing right now. We have been doing this for over a year. Yes, to not disrupt company operations, some payments may be scheduled in a way that works for the company's cash flow, not always for everyone individually. That's the reality of the world we live in. So this is like such a weird story where like we're going to pay you when we have money.
Yeah, can I was going to interject real quick. No, that's garbage. That's just corporate speak for we don't really care.
Yeah.
The way that this works, a person does a job, they get paid. It's not we'll pay you when it's good for us. That's
Yeah.
not how this works.
Yeah, this is such a weird story. It's essentially because like they even talk about like how he says like it's just contractors and stuff, but there was the Anna Savina, whatever, who was like on the team who wasn't being paid properly and saying that it has been resolved now, but that you still have issues of like actual staff not being paid properly. Like this is such a weird story. And like if this is like the precedent of Web3 games, then I don't think anyone's really going to want to work on that kind of stuff if they're seeing these massive delays because of how the payment structure works.
To be honest, there was always a big pushback against that anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't care. That's my final on that. I literally don't care. Anytime you're doing a job, you expect to get paid, especially in this world, in this economy. And it's even worse for contractors because I used to be a contractor. We depend on our pay a lot more than people who are full-time employees because we likely don't get a lot in our pay. And unlike other employees, we have to pay for our health care. We likely don't get 401k. So there's more money coming out of our pockets. So that's just garbage. It's wrong.
Yeah.
It should be illegal.
Completely agree with you. It's the world that we live in terms of working environment for contractors and other people is just seems to be getting worse and worse. And the games industry seems to suffer with it more than lots of other places most of the time. And I don't really understand why when we consider how much money is actually within the industry itself.
That's
It's
why. That's why it is. You have people at top and the investors who are making the money and they want their money. And it's getting to the point where money is more important than the people who work on your game. Because look at the trends, not to take it off a tangent. The game does great, you lay off people. The game does bad, you lay off people.
yeah, true. Good
If the
point.
game does good and you're making money hand over fist, why are you letting go of people? Because we want a bigger chunk of the pie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Traditionally, it wasn't, oh, the game is done, it's doing great, we're going to keep these people on, they can keep working on the game, make it even better. Oh, the game is great, we're going to lay you guys off. Oh, we need people to work on the game, we'll bring them back in. We'll keep a skeleton crew, then everybody else is gone. One, that's scale. You shouldn't have hired too
Yes.
many people. That's your fault. You don't get to go, oh, we're laying you off now because we screwed up. And again, it's the people above making the money. You don't ever see like the CEO or the CFO or the CTO or anybody in the C-suites ever get issues, ever get in trouble. And when they do, they got this golden parachute where they're making millions upon millions of dollars, while the developer who's not making jack, the guy in the art department, they're not making anything.
Yeah.
That's the issue of this. Yeah, the gaming is a multi-billion-dollar industry, but the people who are really benefiting are the management. The
Completely
people who
agree.
actually make these games, they don't get the money and they get treated like crap.
Yes,
And this is just
completely
another
agree.
example.
And that actually reminds me of another story that I want to bring up. And I know Jeff has on docket, but I'm actually going to bring up what you wrote at the Outerhaven for it, Keith, because
Oh
I
no,
thought it was a
which
good
one is that?
piece. It's this one,
Yes, that was the next story that I had planned.
because we need to talk about this, because First Berserker Kazan, if you haven't played it, is a great Souls-like game, in my opinion.
Phenomenal.
And Keith, since you wrote this, why don't you tell us what exactly is happening with that team right now?
Sure. So Nipple and the development team that's owned by Nipple, I forget, is it Next? I don't remember. Nexon. I may be incorrect. Basically, they decided, hey, First Berserker Kazan simply did not make enough money. I think it hit as I said right there, 30,000 concurrent players on PC. It doesn't, the report doesn't say anything about the PlayStation. So it didn't make enough, so they basically are disbanding the team and putting them in other places. And it's like, this is one of the better Souls-like games out there. It was the combat was great, the story was fun, the environments were fun. It let people choose
and the art
difficulties.
Style.
It was an amazing game, and it just they're like, oh, it didn't sell enough, we're going to cancel it. We're going to basically get rid of the team. And the problem with this, as you see in the article, is I didn't just go off with the report. As always, I like to interject my own opinions. And a big reason why this game did not do well is because you released it at the completely wrong time. Like it got overshadowed massively.
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed Shadows came out a couple of days later. A few months later after that, you had Elden Ring Night Reign, which demolished it. It was like done.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, we're gonna kill this game now because it didn't do well. Well, a game like this, which is an amazing game, was not going to compete with Elden Ring.
Imagine
There's
if
not
this had
many games that are going to compete with From Software.
Imagine if this game had released during the quieter summer months. You know?
Yeah,
like,
it would have did great.
Yeah, like this is my favorite Souls-like. This game was so good. Like, you know, it had difficulty settings. It also ended up adding like a female character that you could play as well too, even though it didn't really make sense to the lore. Like they did everything they could to make this game like as accessible to everyone who could possibly play it. And because of that, I was able to push through the entire game because like there's no co-op. This game was just unbelievably fun, and this is such devastating news. Like, at least these
Yes.
guys still have their jobs. They've just been reallocated elsewhere.
Yeah.
But
So it says here, as Keith said in the report, it says a large portion of the roughly 100-person development team has been reassigned internally. So, as Jeff says, most of them are keeping their jobs, but things like, future DLC plans or releases on other platforms now come
Not
into
happening.
massive question because they're probably not going to happen
Nope.
now. So that is a real shame. It is a real shame because it's first Berserker Kazan. If you haven't played it, honestly,
should.
if you haven't played it and you like Souls likes, play this video game. Like
I would even go a step further and not even say if you like Souls like, because even if you ignore the Souls like nature of the game, it's a great action game.
it is.
It's one of
good
those
point.
games that it's a Souls like, but if you're not a fan of Souls like, you'll still play it because it still has an amazing combat system.
Yes. Yeah, definitely agree with that. Well, now we should probably move on to another piece of news. So what do we have up next, Jeff?
alrighty, keeping with layoffs, even though I don't wanna. Take-Two Interactive has reportedly eliminated its entire AI team as part of restructuring. The company's former head of AI, Luke Dickin, shared on LinkedIn that his time with the parent company at Rockstar and Zynga has ended. We've been developing cutting-edge technology to support game development now for 7 years. These folks know how to match innovation and novel problem-solving approaches with strong product design chops to create systems that empower people throughout the development workflow. Former senior director of AI development, Jason Leon, added over the past 6 years, first leading Zynga's game services division in Central Tech, then spending the last 2 years building out the AI team at Take-Two Interactive. We've pushed the edge of what's possible, applying in emerging technologies to real game development problems. So Take-Two CEO Strauss Zelnick discussed the firm's stance on AI with the game industry biz, clarifying that it is embracing AI as we always have. So this is kind of a weird story. Just because, again, like, so it's basically reportedly laid off its AI team.
Yes.
So my question with it that I'm not kind of seeing here in the story is this just like their AI as in generating stuff, or the AI in like character AI? Because I'm assuming it's the former.
Yeah, I think so. Because character AI is normally dealt with by a completely different department. So
So this is kind of an interesting story then, if it's basically laying off its AI team.
yes.
Like Strelnick, so Zelnick basically says that I've been enthusiastic since the very beginning. This company's products have always been built with machine learning and artificial intelligence. We've actually already been a leader in this space, and right now we have hundreds of pilots and implementations across our company, including within our studios. And we've already seen instances where generative AI tools are driving costs and time efficiencies. That said, do I think the tools by themselves create great entertainment properties? No, there's no evidence that that's the case, and it won't be the case in the future. Specifically with regards to Grand Theft Auto 6, generative AI has zero part in what Rockstar Games is building. Their worlds are handcrafted. That's what differentiates them. They're built from the ground up, building by building, street by street, neighborhood by neighborhood. They're not procedurally generated, and they shouldn't be. What I've said and continue to say is that the tools don't replace creativity, and tools are not projects. They are different things. So this is kind of a weird story in a lot of ways as well too, because like, what does it kind of mean to you?
To me, it means that they're backing away from some of their AI use in certain projects. That's how I read it, and probably because if we look at the AI industry right now, things aren't going very well for it, right? In terms of investors and things like that. So, I'm not too surprised. What I will say from everything Zelnick's saying, like, I don't always agree with him, but everything he said here about AI is basically exactly what I feel, especially in the space of games, right? It wasn't too long ago, we'll speak about Crimson Desert later, but it wasn't too long ago that people got really mad because Crimson Desert had some leftover AI-generated stuff that they used as part of their development process, right? And it's great to hear that we're not going to see that stuff in GTA 6, for example. But it's like, I'm also of the mind, and Keith, I believe, feels the same about this. People are a little bit overly negative when it comes to AI these days, and don't understand that it can actually be a very helpful tool in many ways. But as Zelnick says here, it's never ever going to replace creativity. Like, most of the time, it's like when making a game, for example, because I've spoken to people, and what they basically say is they'll be designing a room or an area, and they'll be like, hey, we want it to look kind of like this, and they'll let the AI generate certain things just to give them a sense of what it will look like once they've then made their own assets and put those in, right? Which is why we do sometimes see games that have one or two things left over here and there, because when you're making a game with hundreds, potentially thousands of assets, there are mistakes made and you might forget to replace one or two of them, you know? But it's like, I also don't think that, like, AI in game creation is never going to go away fully, because as Zelnick says, and as is said in this report, games have actually been using AI as part of their creation for a really long time. Like with procedural generation and things like that, they were using AI before the public even knew what AI was, quite frankly.
Yeah, procedurally generating has been massive. Like, you even take a look at a game like Horizon Zero Dawn. So, like, basically is they would handcraft these sections and have certain areas, but what they would do is they had like a topography kind of system where, like, there's going to be water here, and so they would program a system where certain plants would show up around the water, but all that stuff was then procedurally generated around those specific zones.
And Bethesda have been doing the exact same thing for basically 20 years at this point. Like, their entire way that they make games is all of these assets are handcrafted, but they are then placed by AI using a certain set of rules.
Well, look at SpeedTree. SpeedTree's been around since the Dreamcast.
Yeah, so I don't really understand the negativity around AI. I think that we see it in the industry right now, with AI. Like, the AI industry is kind of blowing up, right? In the sense of it's never going to disappear, but as I said earlier, investors are pulling out, and I think that's probably why we see companies like Take-Two closing down very specific, very dedicated, like, we don't need a specific AI team because our developers already know how to use these tools and know how to do these things. And potentially this AI team might have been involved in some other plans they had for AI content and things in the future, which are now not going to be happening, right? Like, it's you never really know at the moment. Like, the AI industry, in terms of at least the public facing part of it, is still very, very new. And I think that industry is still finding their place in the world. They've had like their initial boom, which was when all the investors are putting loads of money in, and it's now got to the point where it's not succeeding in the way they thought it would. But people are Go
There's
on.
that one company that was like spending like $10 million a day or something like that
Yeah,
on like housing all the AI stuff. And
yeah.
yeah.
So
I
is
actually have a different. I actually have a different approach. I wanted you to finish, but I wanted to go into there real quick before we finish off.
go
There.
on,
Oh, Keith
go
loves
on.
AI.
I think another way to look at this, because this entire situation isn't really 100% clear.
Yeah,
I think another way to look at this is that they're not moving away from AI, but the cost and the time it costs them to develop their own AI tools is
that's
becoming an
true.
issue for them. They could
Yeah,
be easily just going, we don't want to spend as much money as we're using, and
yeah.
we probably will either bring in different people to make it cheaper, or
Mm.
maybe there's a suite of AI tools that somebody already has out there that they're going to
Mhm.
take and adopt.
Yeah,
But
this is where I said the story was kind of weird because there's not a lot of clarity in what side of the fence that
yeah,
the conversation is being taken place on.
I agree, and I think that Keith kind of says exactly what I was trying to say in the point that they're not going to stop using AI tools because AI tools have been used in game development for literally decades at this point. However, I think Keith did nail something which I didn't mention, which is they probably are going to not develop their own tools because let's be honest, what's the point in wasting money developing your own tools when you've already got all of these other companies that are developing tools that you can probably just get access to
It's
much
the
cheaper?
same thing with a studio like, I don't know, say Microsoft creating this thing called the Slipstream engine and then realizing it's too expensive to work on. And so like, let's just use Unreal Engine 5.
Yeah, it
And
is.
I think with AI though, as you mentioned, there's a lot of companies who are dabbling in AI and
Mm,
are basically the leaders in AI, and a lot of small people who want to get in AI instead of making their
yeah,
own LM, they just hook into the other LMs using AI APIs, skin it,
yeah,
throw into their own custom code, and it's theirs. But the
yes,
thing is, they're not constantly developing the LLM, so the new behaviors and processes and everything, they don't have to work on that. They just go, hey, this company just updated this and now it can do this and we can integrate this into our workflow now. So
yeah,
I think that's where they're going with this. Hey, we stopped doing it. Because if you look at his LinkedIn post, he literally starts talking about all the things that he and his team have done, and they're not directionally directly related to doing the actual AI towards a game, but what is being used to develop the AIs.
yes, yeah. I completely agree. I think that, it is what it is. It's the state of the AI industry right now. As I said, I think that where AI is going is they're now in a weird place, the AI industry as a whole, where they've had their boom period and they're now in the period where some people are pulling out their money because they're scared because it's not working in the way they thought it would. And then you've got other people pouring in more money to try and force it to work. And I don't know which one of those is going to win out right now. So it's going to be an interesting few years to see what happens. But it did make me think of something that I want to bring up that we don't have on the document here, and I'm sure Keith can speak about it very well. But that
Uh-oh.
is the rising cost of gaming, Keith, because AI has a lot to do with that, right?
It seems like I talk about this topic like pretty much every freaking day. So let's just talk about the recent, I want to say, quagmire in gaming industry in terms of pricing of games and
Giggity
gaming and stuff
giggity.
going up. So we got Nintendo raising the price of its physical cards due to the cost of RAM and storage
Well,
going up
it
due
left
to.
it kept them the same price. It just reduced the digital.
Well, that's what they're saying, but they ended up saying no. We raised the cost of our physical. They literally said no. We're raising the cost of our physical. But people were like, so I was one of the people in that camp was like, are they actually going to reduce the cost of digital because that's what they should have done and left the physical games alone? And it was like back and forth, back and forth. What exactly is happening? And the funny thing is, it doesn't make a difference if you were right, if I was right. It still does the same thing. Digital is still cheaper when you
Cheaper.
conceive it, and
Yeah.
physicals are more expensive. So it doesn't make a difference if digital got cheaper and physical got more expensive, or if physical got got more expensive, and it's like it doesn't make a difference. This is the result, and it's frustrating
It's
because
basically them
they
trying
were
to incentivize people to go digital, right?
yeah,
Well, they were trying to, like, a lot of companies have been trying to do that for the longest time, but they've had deals with brick and mortar stores to keep that
Yes.
parity, and those
Yeah.
deals are no longer around.
Yes.
I wouldn't say that they're no longer around. It's just they don't care. It's like, look, we're at a point where if you don't want to carry our games from a multi-billionaire multi-billion industry, we don't care. We have digital storefronts now. We literally don't care. You don't have to
They
handle our
don't need
games.
the stores anymore,
We
right?
don't need you anymore.
Yeah.
Move along, old man. We don't need you. If Walmart and Best Buy and Amazon, I mean, look at Amazon. Most of the Nintendo games aren't even on Amazon anymore. And they're like,
Yeah, true.
we don't care.
Well, but even like other games. So I saw somebody recently, as a wrestling fan, obviously WWE 2K26, which I reviewed at the Outerhaven, came out not too long ago, and I saw that we also reviewed it. Jeff, you reviewed it for us. Had a slightly different opinion to me, but still enjoyed the game.
A correct opinion. Go on.
And I saw that former wrestler Stevie Richards, who has a YouTube channel which you should check out if you like wrestling, he was trying to find the game, and he said he had to drive like 2 or 3 hours just to find one physical copy of the game that they had in his city. Like one physical copy of the game.
That's not new. I mean, that's been happening for a while now for physical games, and I think a lot of companies have simply just not printed a lot of physical games over
My
the last few
GameStop
years.
or my EB Games, like, if I want a physical copy, I have to pre-order it,
Wow.
or they don't have it at launch.
That is crazy.
Like,
I
they
mean,
didn't even
I
have a physical copy of Monster Hunter Stories. They're like, well, you have
Wow,
to pre-order this,
okay.
but you have to wait till tomorrow until they have the time to pick it up. And I'm like,
So I'm not surprised, because as we've discussed before, I think platforms are becoming more and more digital, right? Like, okay, Nintendo's behind, and let's be honest, that's why what's happening now is happening to some degree. But if you look at Xbox, like over here in the UK, Xbox is nearly 100% digital on all their game sales, right? Like there's basically no physical game sales over here in the UK for Xbox.
I mean, there's a reason why they released a digital-only Xbox.
Yeah.
They tried that before, by the way. It didn't work. Continue.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sorry.
I know. and then PlayStation isn't as far behind them as some people would think. Like PlayStation, I believe, is in the like high 80-ish% of digital sales for games now. So it's why the physical charts don't really mean anything for game sales anymore, because you can't really extrapolate that data to anything these days. But Nintendo obviously has been very strong physical for a very long time. So I can understand people being mad about the rising cost in their camp. But there has been other rising costs, of course, Keith. Like PlayStation put their prices up recently, right?
Oh, yeah. So PlayStation jacked up the prices of the PlayStation 5, the PlayStation Portal. So basically, the original PlayStation 5, the one with the disc drive built into it, that is now, what, $650? The digital, actually, let me just get the article, because these prices are frustrating. Basically, the OG PlayStation went up $100. The digital went up $100.
Yes.
The PlayStation Portal went up $50. And the PlayStation 5 Pro is now $900.
Yeah.
it's $1,100 in Canada before tax.
Wow.
So if this continues to be a thing, all those people who kept telling us, people who were saying that the PlayStation 6 is going to be easily $1,000 are going to have to eat their crow, because we're literally saying this console is not going to be cheap. And I don't care what you think.
Yeah.
And if the rumors are right, and it's supposed to be hitting fab in 2027 and maybe coming out towards the end of 2027, then we're still going to be in the same place where we are right now, where RAM and storage is so astronomically high. It's no.
Well,
no, it's not going to be cheap, guys.
I'll make something very obvious to people, and the people like myself and Keith know this already, who are very entrenched in the PC gaming scene, right? But there's a reason that the Steam machine has not released yet. let's be honest. Like, there's a very obvious reason that the Steam machine hasn't released yet, and that's because Valve don't want to charge more than a certain amount of money for this thing because they know it will fail. And right now, if they were to bring it out right now, they kind of would have no choice other than to charge a higher amount of money than they want to for it.
So Valve is in a very interesting position. Now, when they first announced the Steam machine, I was basically saying, and I wrote articles and did a video saying that they need to get this in retail. So if they raise the price, that's going to cut into their marketing because they have to market this system. They can't do what they did with the Steam Deck. It's not going to sell that way.
No.
Because they're competing with the living room space. It's a complete different beast. 2, if they release this thing at a higher price, they're once again competing directly with the console spaces. And wow, this
especially with the next Xbox, right?
With the new Xbox, it's interesting because we still don't have 100% idea what it's going to do. We just know, hey, it's going to be a hybrid PC and a console, which is something like the original Xbox, by the way. If you go check out the interview that the expansion pass did with Ed Freeze from Microsoft.
Yeah.
Formerly of Microsoft. He actually talked about the beginnings of the Xbox. It was supposed to be a hybrid PC console experience. So it's kind of funny. They go full circle.
Yeah.
So just putting that out there.
Almost
it's going to be interesting to see where the Steam machine is going to fit.
360, yeah. But yeah.
No, 360. You get. No, we're not getting into that. God. No.
That's is a circle.
Oh, God. But
it's going to be interesting for the Steam Deck. But I also will say one thing about that. I am so tired of watching these videos on YouTube go, you can make your own Steam machine. You can make your own Steam. Look, guys. Look. It's not the fact that the machine runs SteamOS. It's the fact that the machine is a small handheld or small footprint.
Yeah.
That it's even smaller than a GameCube.
And also it's the fact that it's a small thing that people can plug in and just kind of use, right? Like, it's people like the ease of use thing. Like, it's why more people aren't PC gamers, quite frankly. Like, I see all the time people saying, you know, I saw a comment the other day of like someone who was like, oh yeah, they actually picked up an Xbox over a PlayStation 5 Pro because of the PlayStation price rise, right? Recently. And they were like, yeah, they're just not paying that much money for a console. And even they were like, yeah, before the PC people come for me, I'm just not interested in PC because, yes, I know it's undoubtedly a better experience across the board on basically every video game that's ever released, but I like just being able to plug in the console, grab a controller, and boot up the game and not really have any issues. And I think that that's the one thing is we often forget that, right? As people that are privileged.
Can I just throw in there? I hate that. I think that that's a stigma that is not really true anymore. We've seen that on a lot of the handheld PC devices. We've seen it directly on Steam Machine where you get the game and there's no configuration. It's just start and play. We've seen a lot more games become more mature that you don't have to worry about that now.
I agree with you. I think the problem is that when something goes wrong on PC, it can be a lot harder or more involved to fix. Whereas on a console, most of the time it's, hey, turn it off and back on and it's fine. You know?
Well, that goes back to the fact that, again, I've been yelling that we need baselines for PC games.
Yeah, I agree.
They don't need to be minimum and minimal recommend. No, it's either you need to be at this level to play this game, which is how PC gaming was in its infancy. If you did not have a co-processor, you could not play this game. That's it.
Definitely.
There's no, you could play it with minimum frames. No, you could not play this game. And that's how it should be.
Yeah,
if
very
you
true.
don't have this class of video card, you can't play the game. No more minimum, no more recommended. Are you this high? No, you can't play the game. Sorry.
Yeah. So Jeff will get a PC one day and he will join our group of PC gamers. He does have a very nice PC case, actually, which he reviewed over on Analog Stick Gaming, so go and check that out. But now we should probably, because
Well, we're not
we
done.
spent
We're
a
not
while
done.
talking
We're
about
not
that.
done.
We got one more news story.
We got one more thing of the expensive though. You forgot you forgot the big news.
What thing?
You remember we got Nintendo, we got PlayStation, and now we got Lenovo.
Oh, yes. Yes. Tell us about it.
So Lenovo has two different types of handheld gaming devices. It has the Lenovo Go, Lenovo Go 2, which is their big boy, super powerful. And then we got the Lenovo Go S, which is the smaller, and it's not really that much smaller. But
Don't you have both of those? Why don't you just show people?
I don't have them in my office because I was upstairs playing them. Sorry.
Oh.
But I'm getting rid of one of them. I'm not keeping both. It doesn't make any sense. But basically, Lenovo raised their prices of their machines. So the lower spec model of the Lenovo Go 2 is now $1,500.
Okay.
And that's a Ryzen 2 Extreme processor, 1 terabyte of storage, and 16 gigs of memory. And then the 2 terabyte, 32 gig version is now $2,000. $2,000 for a handheld.
Wow.
Now
that is a lot of money.
I was going to say, if you're in the PC handheld space, you'll probably say, hey, that's a lot of money. But there have already been devices that were already more than that.
Yes. Yeah.
You got the, I always say their name wrong, the Aya Neo devices. A lot of the devices are super expensive.
Yeah.
So
but they do. But they have Are they the one that did like one really, really high end handheld?
No, they do a lot of high end handhelds. They got the Flip DS versions, and they're like $1,500. Yeah. They've got the Kun, the KUN, the Kun. That was a couple grand. All their stuff is expensive. It always has been expensive. Always. Yeah. Outside of their mini devices. But the problem with this for Lenovo is the Go 2, when it was launched like back towards the end of 2025.
Yeah.
It oversold. It was over pre-sold. People had their orders canceled, and Lenovo could not keep up with the demand. And it was already pricey. Now, you've risen the price to $650 for your higher end model, and it's going to be even harder for them to sell it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very true. Very true. But
so what does that mean for high end PC gaming handheld devices?
I mean, it means that they're going to become even more niche, I would imagine.
Yes.
Which is a real shame because, you know, handhelds, as we've seen, I'm sure, like, Jeff has a few handhelds over there, and they are very, very useful devices. Jeff even fully reviews some games just on handhelds. So, you know, it's a shame that those things are happening. I do think that, as we know, the AI industry is to blame for a lot of that. But hopefully, within a couple of years, things will start to sort themselves out a little bit. Because if not, we're in real trouble. But let's now talk about our one more bit of news, shall we, Jeff?
Well, actually, I got two, just because we brought up the other one. So we'll jump into this one. This is, where is it here? Marathon's budget. A little over a month ago after launching, Marathon remained a hot topic with fans as the debate whether it'll wind up being a failure or a success. And now we have a little bit more data as a new report gives us insight into how expensive the game was to make. According to Paul Tassi of Forbes, the game's official budget was at least $200 million, although likely more than $250 million. That's not including the ongoing costs of keeping the new content coming out and keeping the lights on. Admittedly, this is hardly surprising news. Just the other week, we had a report that the AAA space was entering the $300 million budget territory as a standard. And we've known that budgets have been skyrocketing for years now as development times rise and teams get larger. But it's nice to have some confirmation. So yeah, so like this is, I mean, it's not surprising considering how some of these studios kind of like run their businesses. Although it is still like surprising where you get something like Crimson Desert, for example, which has a reported $150 million budget, and then look at like how massive that game is compared to some of the other AAA games. Like it's staggering, really. But yeah, so Marathon has approximate $250 million budget. What does everybody think about that?
I mean, it's a lot of money, right? That is a hell of a lot of money, and it's considering the price point of the game. It's I wonder how they're doing against that budget. You know, it'd be interesting to see. I think that it also highlights one of the industry's biggest kind of issues right now, which is overinflated budgets because of how long games take to make, because of this increasing need for kind of bigger scale and scope all of the time across all genres. And it's
but then you look at, like, again, like I said, like Crimson Desert had a development time around 7 to 9 years and had a reported budget of about $150 million.
Yeah, I mean, it's
it's management really that is the cause for a lot of the ballooning budgets when you have games that have, like, 300 to 400. I mean, Grand Theft Auto apparently is going to be about a $500 to $600 million.
Well, I mean, the thing is,
budget.
Grand Theft Auto is in its own category because they can actually afford to, like, if that game ends up being $1 billion budget overall, the difference for them is they can afford it because they're guaranteed almost to make that back on day one.
Yeah.
There aren't any other video games that can do that. Like, even Call of Duty, which spends, I believe, around 400 million a year, if you include, like, marketing and things as well, it's like the industry is in a really weird place. And for live service games like Marathon specifically, that $200 to $250 million budget, in my opinion, is really worrying because let's remember the standard price of the game, at least here in the UK, is £35, right? So it's probably around $40 US, I believe. And that is, so it's not even selling at full price because they know that you can't sell a game like this at full price. Places have tried that before. It doesn't work because there are too many free-to-play options in the space.
Mm-hmm.
So when you know you can't sell the game at full price, why do you even let the budget become that big? You know, it's I get it.
It's scope, man. And these companies just, I don't want to say the management is I don't want to say stupid. I just think there's greed, maybe ambition. Maybe they are very ambitious and they want this game to do very well. And they think that if we put more money towards a game, then it guarantees success, which we've seen is not the case.
Yes.
And they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah. But it's very worrying because, like, and Bungie's in a different place, right? Because they've made a lot of money over the years with Destiny 2. They probably have a decent bank account. Let's put it that way. They probably have a decent bank account, but it's that thing of Concord was in a similar situation in terms of budget spent on the game. And look what happened there, And it just, to me, we're creating an industry where you're kind of going to kill the industry with what you're doing right now because you're ballooning budgets, and then unless a game is an instant success, you shut down the studio. And sometimes even when it is a success, as we mentioned earlier, it's not a big enough success, so you're getting shut down or restructured. And it's like, all of this stuff all together really concerns me. Because again, and we've said it, it's true, it's the higher up people that have the money and have, the managers who, as we know, get more and more involved in, oh, this has got to be this, or this has got to be that, or hey, you have to shoehorn in these microtransactions that no one actually wants. It's like, can we go back to a time of letting the creative people just create the thing and see what happens? Like, I'm not against live service games, but we know we should know by now as an industry that live service games are literally the riskiest model there is. You should not be spending $200 million plus on development of a live service game unless you have a very strong IP cachet, something like Call of Duty. They can do it, right? They can. They could.
They can't.
Like,
not anymore. No,
you don't think so?
The problem with that, and I was thinking you were going this direction. The problem is live service games have gotten so much bad press that even if you don't play live service games, you automatically hate them.
That's true.
Because so many people are talking bad about them. So if people are already talking bad about them, and you could have a Super Mario live service game, people are gonna go live service. I don't want.
Yeah. People hear live service and they assume it's bad, right? In the same way that people hear Battle Pass and they assume it's bad. And it's like, it's a real shame because there are genuinely some great live service games. Like myself, Keith, and Scott just released our Marathon review the other day. We actually really like Marathon, and I believe Jeff likes Marathon as well because he's also been playing some of it. And it's a fun game, but I worry about the future of the game now that I've heard the budget. That's what I would say, just because I don't know how the game's doing sales wise, but we do know from the Steam numbers that the audience for the game has dropped off considerably. And normally when that happens, that's also a sign that less people are buying the game.
Well, another issue, too, is streamers that are getting like badgered by their audience for playing Marathon. Like Peanut has wanted to play Marathon on stream for the longest time, but his audience is just so against it, which is, why his quote on the Marathon trainer is like, "Fuck you, I had a good time."
Yeah. So
and that goes back into the stigma. I mean, when you're having streamers who depend on their audience to keep them up and their job for a lot of them, and they're pressured not to play it, and they simply won't play the game, even though, as you just said, for Burnt Peanut, he likes the game. So there's people who aren't playing the game out of pure pressure, which kind of reminds me of high school nonsense. But I talked about this on Spectre Mode the other day. We agree that Marathon is not the best game of all time. It has its issues. And when you see people making videos every day about this game going, I wish this game was dead. I wish this game never existed. This gameplay sucks. This is no fun. It's a live service game. Everything under the sun. And it's like, have you played it? Or are you just jumping into the whole rage bait of, I don't like this game. It needs to die. Bungie made it. I don't like Bungie. Oh, look at the players. It's dropping. And it was like some guy made one, and it was Easter weekend. Oh, look, it's only 29,000 people. I'm like, it's Easter, bro. What the hell?
People are busy. People aren't necessarily going to be playing this game every single day.
They're like, oh, look at this single player game. Only has 150,000 people playing it 5 years.
It's really good for a single player game.
and really good. The thing that really bothers me about this is it's just the rage baiting. And there's, like I said, there's constantly people going up, this game is bad. And Bungie has its own issues. We keep talking about like the fact that the season reset's coming and people are not going to want to play anymore because like building up your resources and then they're resetting it for the next season. That's bad game design. Don't do that. We don't like that. Please don't do that.
Yeah. Because that basically makes the progress pointless, right?
Or the fact that, you've got people who are playing this game nonstop, and they are basically demolishing people who just want to dabble in the game and say, all right, I'll give it a try, and they destroy them. And it's no different than a fighting game. You go online and fight a game and get wrecked enough times, you don't want to play it online no more.
Yeah.
Or you don't want to play the game anymore. So that's also happening. And I think a big thing that people are simply overlooking is there's another game that does what Marathon does, and it's doing it in a better manner.
Yeah.
And that's Arc Raiders. Arc
Mhm.
Raiders is doing everything that Marathon should be doing, with a couple things. And Embark is making the changes faster.
Yes.
I guarantee you, and I hate to say that because now I sound like Charles Barkley. Not that there's anything wrong with Barkley, I love him. If Bungie had did exactly what Embark did and not only tested the duels, and then put that into the game permanently, there will be more people playing it.
Oh yeah.
We've said it. It's when we go play and we want to play, it's like now we got to find a third, and maybe Jeff's not around, or maybe Scott's not around. So now we got to get a random, and we've played plenty of randoms to just go, hey guy, we're going over there, and they're like way over there, and it's like, all right.
And to give them some credit, some of these randoms are really good.
Oh yeah, there's some great ones, but I've ran into more bad ones than really good ones.
Absolutely. And the problem is being successful at this game requires very good communication. And when you're playing with randoms, a lot of them don't talk. And that just makes things so difficult.
Like you're going, hey, he's a friendly, and I couldn't hear him talking whatsoever, and I just like unloaded my entire gun into him. Because no one told me.
Because that's the problem with the game, the proximity chat. And it's like,
yeah,
all he had to do was use his will, and he would say, hey, I'm friendly. But that's the thing. It's something with the design of the game that it's not clicking with a lot of people. Yeah. And going back to Arc Raiders, I'll get off of it. The argument is Marathon's not doing well because it's a live service game. Okay, Arc Raiders hit an all-time peak of almost 500,000 people. 24-hour peak, looking at it right now, 109,000 players.
There's Steam still alone, a lot of people playing that game.
On Steam alone. And right now, there's 76,000 players. So it's not that live service games are doing bad. There's something wrong with Marathon, and there are people going, don't play Marathon, and people aren't playing Marathon, and now Marathon's in a really bad situation. But Arc Raiders and Embark figured out how to make it work. And I said before, I do like the gameplay in Marathon. It's one of its biggest qualities. But like the onboarding and all the factions and these quests where you got to do 5 different things in one run, only to get killed in the middle of doing it because a rook got you from behind, or you got demolished by another fire team, and your progress goes away. That also pisses people off. It's like, I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
Marathon has a lot of things stacked towards it. It's not its gameplay. It's the systems and the decisions that is causing this game to have such a big issue.
I very rarely get angry at video games.
Oh, we had this conversation.
And Marathon makes me angry. Like,
he got so pissed off. We were playing, and he was like, "I'm not playing anymore." I'm like, Jordan, I'm not playing anymore. I'm done. I'm like, come on, man. One more. I don't want to play anymore. I'm done. He was so pissed. I've never seen Evil Jordan. He was so mad.
I got so mad that I went into the game with the objective of just kill other players. Yeah. That was like my only objective. Because it's infuriating because of the balancing of several different systems in the game is not quite right at the moment, and they really need to fix it quickly, I think, because hopefully season 2 brings some balancing changes and things like that. We'll see. And like I said, I don't dislike the game. I actually very much do like the game. I'm not a fan of the art style in the way that Keith is, but I love the gameplay. The actual gameplay moment to moment is brilliant. My only tweak, if it was me, would be make the time to kill slightly longer. I think it's a tad too quick, to the point where it feels like every single time that you get into a gunfight, whoever hits the first shot or sees the person before they see them, that person's 9 times out of 10 going to win that gunfight.
Well, I could tell you just by looking at this, there's an easier way to make the TTK a lot lower. Mm-hmm. One of it is making shields actually a lot stronger. Right now, everybody gets basic shields. And if you want the more improved shields, you've got to do this long faction progress. And then you need items to do that, and most people
And then they're
simply
going to
can't do it.
reset all of that as well.
So it's like you're really causing it yourself. But I think the
Yeah.
point is, and I think they mentioned a while ago, they want the TTK to be fast.
Yeah.
So you can, I lost, I'm gonna jump back into a game.
Yeah. Yeah, but the problem is, I don't think they're thinking about the other issues that is creating within the game. Like, it's not all about, oh, quick jump in and jump out, because let's be honest, these load screens are an issue. like you sometimes we've genuinely had times, like I've timed it, we have genuinely had times where it's taken about a minute just to load into a game. And that's when we're in a full squad. We're not even looking for a random to team up with, you know? So it gets a little bit crazy there. But I wish Bungie the best with Marathon, because I do enjoy the game most of the time. But I do have concerns given that this budget number is what it is, and they are selling around half of the price of a normal AAA game. I have real concerns for the future of the game. We'll see. I obviously wish them the best, and we will keep you updated with it all. But I guess we probably want to talk about some video games now, right?
Yeah, sure. We'll jump into that.
So let's talk about some video games. I'm going to get some gameplay ready here, and then I'm going to bring it up. Give me 1 moment to make it a real full screen. There we go. This is from my review, but Keith hasn't yet, but myself and Jeff have played a lot of Crimson Desert. And Jeff, you recently...
Whoa. I've played some. I just stopped.
Yeah.
So I have played it.
And Jeff, you recently put out your review for Crimson Desert. So why don't you tell us, what were your final feelings on the game?
So initially, it's one of those games where there's a lot of friction at the start. Why is the video running at such a low frame rate?
I have no idea. That's a good question.
Yeah, because it's looking at like running at like 15 frames per second or something.
I have no. It's probably because it's trying to run in too high of a quality.
You got it in 4K, bro?
Huh?
You got it in 4K?
Probably.
Yeah.
It's on 720 now.
All right. So Crimson Desert is the type of game that, to me, has a lot of friction at the start of it, because you're fighting against the controls. There is a massive amount of control set up on this, and it gets kind of progressively worse as you start unlocking more features. But as you start getting used to a lot of stuff, you start noticing that there's probably no way they could have done this other than limiting certain things. This is why certain games where if you have 20 abilities, you can only ever equip like 8 at once, because you have, the face buttons mapped to L1, and then
there are some limitations.
Yeah. And honestly, I think that's probably the way they almost should have gone. But still, at the exact same point, like, this game allows you to do a lot of stuff, like a lot. Like, you could pick people up using your little grappling hook thing, and then like RKO them on the top of a tower, and then like run and drop kick, and then swing the guy around. And it basically allows you to have kind of an untapped freedom that we don't normally see in these types of games. And it does kind of fight you on the controls sometimes. But kind of once you get kind of used to that, you start kind of seeing what this game is. And this is basically a game that is like a combination of like Red Dead Redemption 2 and The Witcher 3 and Tears of the Kingdom. And it's got its combat almost has like a fighting game mentality to it, with a lot of like draining energy bars and pulling off moves. I mean, hell, there's an entire skill tree just devoted to unarmed combat.
Yeah.
And like, it's also a game that explores a lot of freedom through a lot of its mechanics, like in the same way where you could use a flaming arrow to burn an apple in Breath of the Wild. Here, if you're fighting enemies on like a wood platform, you can just basically redeflect the light from your sword to the wood platform and then just watch it crumble underneath. there's a lot of stuff that this game does that still bugs me from the same way that Red Dead Redemption 2 hasn't sat well with me over the years. And that is like, I think this game is over designed in a lot of its animations. It's the same thing that Rockstar does, where they over animate because they want it to feel real and immerse you and blah, blah, blah. But to me, there's nothing immersive about spending like 10 different frames of animation just to turn around. Like
Yeah.
it's one of those things. And we're seeing patches that are addressing some of the animations. I still think the jump takes way too freaking long. I think some of Cliff's animations for combat have too much of a wind up to them. Especially when you're fighting teleport enemies that seem to teleport just to make the fight more frustrating, because the fights that don't have teleporting are very easy. The fights that do have teleporting are difficult. They're frustrating. And like, again, like spending as much time as I have, like, I think I have like, I don't know, probably about 65 hours or something like that into the game right now. Like, I've made my peace with a lot of aspects of the game. And I do think that this game is absolutely fantastic. Like the Batman Arkham combat kind of hybrid of everything out there is really fun. Like, I like bouncing from enemy to enemy and like grabbing an enemy and spinning him around and then waiting for him to like get distracted. And I run up and RKO and shatter everyone around me. Like, that stuff's super fun. And it's got a lot of scale that I really like. And I like how the developers have been like, oh, hey, you guys want to glide more? Let's give you more stamina when you glide. Let's do this. So they're fixing aspects of it. I mean, they're going to be adding like the ability to refight bosses. They're going to be adding like a whole bunch of stuff. And this is a team that's kind of on it for addressing a lot of player concerns. I still have some issues where like the lock-on camera breaks far too easy. Sometimes you get these like isometric camera angles when you're fighting a boss, and I'm like, I don't want that. I want the camera always behind me. And yeah, like there are elements of the game that I absolutely don't like, but the pros greatly outweigh the cons when it comes to the whole package. Because this is a game that has the type of scale that AAA publishers were promising us a decade ago. You're going to be going all the buildings and blah, blah, blah. There won't be a loading
and you
screen
actually
anywhere.
can.
And that's the thing, is like almost every building in this game you can go into. Like anywhere that you see, you can literally go without a load screen. When you're up top on the Tears of the Kingdom floating islands and stuff like that, you can see the entire map, and you can see the entire map. It isn't just like some generic brown rocks in the background. You can see where there's foundations and stuff. Like, this is and again, this is a game that was made on like a third of the budget of like Red Dead Redemption 2 without taking inflation, in. So like, this game has a scale that is both absolutely incredible, but also at the detriment of certain aspects of it. But it never feels like you're fighting that aspect of it. I still think you're fighting the controls in some aspects. I still think you're fighting the animations in a lot of aspects. Because there's times where like I go to jump and then do that like pulse thing to like jump up higher. But as I'm jumping the first time, there's such a delay that sometimes I don't know if he's actually jumped, and then I press it and he does the forward punch. And I'm like, God damn it. Or I'll press jump and he'll step forward like 2 steps because the rock was uneven under his foot. So like those little things, and like trying to like, I tried to use the grappling hook to web swing, and you have to like click in the left stick in and then do other stuff. And I'm like, fuck that. So I reloaded my save and I spent my skill points elsewhere because that web swinging was just dog shit. I never even used that grappling hook during combat. But I did use some of the other abilities. Like, there's the ability you get to like pick up giant like logs, like just a full tree. And I picked that up and I was fighting the crow caller. and I picked up the tree and I hit him once with the whole tree, and his whole health bar just dropped. Phase 1 was just done.
Yeah, yeah.
And so like there's some really neat things that this game does from a scale perspective.
Yeah.
That few games really tackle and really achieve. And like there are some unique aspects to this game,
Yeah.
but this is still a game that is built off of the mechanics of other games that have been released over the past decade.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. This is a strange game, but I agree with something that you really said in your written review, which is as you know, I like this game a lot. You know, I gave it a 5 out of 5 for a reason. I genuinely think that it's the best open world game of this type in over a decade, in my opinion. But I do understand people's criticisms of it, and that's the key thing. Is I understand people's criticisms, but I haven't really had the same experience. Like, yes, I had some initial adjustment period to the controls, but the only thing that really ever frustrated me with the controls, and this is actually my video review, but the only thing that ever really frustrated me, and occasionally does now, but it seems to not be as bad, is trying to pick up an item and not quite being close enough, and I'll jump instead. And it's like, I just want to pick up the thing. So I think that, you know, that feeds into what you were saying about they have this rock star approach to the animations and certain design elements where everything is so precise and so kind of they're trying to create the most immersive game possible, and when it works, it definitely makes the game more immersive, in my opinion. The problem is in those moments where it doesn't work and it breaks your immersion, right? And that kind of is why I understand people's frustration. But I also played a very different version of this game than what people will play today, which is, I think, important to say, right? Like, when I played this game, even compared to when Jeff played it, there were less fast travel points on the map. There was not any personal storage when I played it, so you had to carry everything that you actually wanted to keep around with you in your inventory. But I will say that the inventory is very big, and, you know, especially kind of the more content you do, it grows. You couldn't increase your inventory at vendors when I first played the game. That was something that was added later. So I think the biggest credit I can give to this game, other than everything that I said in my review, which you can go and read on the Outerhaven and watch on the Outerhaven's YouTube channel, but the biggest credit I can give it is that I have never seen a development team support a single player game post-launch this well, this quickly. And like, it's to the point where Crimson Desert today is a different game than the game that I played in the review period. Mm-hmm. And that's why you see certain outlets who reviewed it early are doing re-reviews already. Like, I know that Travis at IGN talked on socials about, even like 3 days after he put out his review, he was like, yeah, this game actually does deserve a re-review already. And it's like, that tells you how good this development team has been at kind of addressing player feedback and doing what players want.
During my review, writing it, I had 1.01 and then 1.02.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like I had to go back and rewrite part of my review saying like, oh, you can't remove the helmet from Cliff, so like you can't ever see his face. So like, and then that they fixed that as well too. So
Yeah. So there's a lot of changes, and this team obviously comes from a live service background with
Mm.
Black Desert Online, so they are used to fast patching and things. The only thing I would say to the team is don't get into the space where you're doing things just to please the players. Like, make sure the game is still what you want the game to be, because if you do everything that players want, the game will lose its identity as well. Like, not everything that players want is necessarily a good thing. So just keep that in mind. But I do like that they're listening to people, and like people are finding exploits in the game, right? Of like there was that travel one with the like you can fly for a long time with the thrusting of the sword or whatever, and they actually made it into a traversal mechanic rather than patching it out of the game. Like they made it more viable than it was before because they saw a lot of people doing it. And I think that, like I said, I've never really seen a single player game of this scale get this well supported this quickly. And I think that deserves an immense amount of praise. And I do think this is a game that if you haven't played already, let's say that you come to it later this year, I actually think in 6 months' time, this will be a different game again.
That's what I'm counting on. That's why I stopped. All the stuff they're working on the game right now, they're making these changes. It's like Cyberpunk. It's like I'm just gonna wait until they go, okay, now the game is where we want it to be.
Yeah.
Then that's where I'll jump in. And I do think, as you mentioned, it bears to like Metacritic. You know, we're on Metacritic, and Metacritic has a thing where once you review a game, you can't go back and re-review it and rescore it.
Yeah.
Which I think
unless somebody different reviews the game.
There is some exceptions, because I know I've seen that happen before where they jumped the gun on certain things and then changed their mind.
Yes. Yeah. So I think they do. So Metacritic, I think, let an outlet post another review, but normally it's when there's like a big update to a game or something like that, where, for example, I just reviewed Starfield, right? Again. And that was because it released on PS5. So I reviewed the PlayStation 5 version. I played it on PlayStation 5 Pro. And in that review, I talk about how the game has been massively updated in the last 2.5 years and is now a much different game to play in many, many ways. So it's, I get what you're saying, Keith. Like, yes, wait for this game to be in the place that you want it to be in. Personally, I actually, like I said, I'm in a weird place where I actually enjoyed the game during the review period before they even changed all of these things, right? Because I had much less issue with some of these things than other people had. But I'm glad to see them addressing the wider feedback of people and building on that stuff. The only thing I would say is don't ever count on them saying to people, yeah, okay, here's the 2.0 version. This is the game we wanted it to be at launch. Because from everything I can tell, they're not that kind of team. They're the kind of team that as long as people are playing this game, they're going to continually update it and change it to be what the players want it to be. And that's why I'm kind of cautioning them, because in a single player game, I don't necessarily think you should do that. Like, at some point, you need to kind of push back slightly and say, this is what the game is. And like, this was our vision for it, as you're saying. I just don't know if they will, because coming from a live service background, I think they're much more used to, oh, we're just going to keep implementing and keep improving, and keep changing things to be how players want them to be, rather than what we necessarily envisioned for the game, right? So we'll have to wait and see on that. But I really like Crimson Desert. Jeff likes it as well, but he had a few more problems than me. Make sure you go and read both of our reviews. But what I would say is that if you're looking for something that has similarities to games that Jeff mentioned, like Red Dead Redemption 2, Witcher 3, the recent Zelda games, or even Skyrim, this is probably the best one of that type that you can play right now. And I really would recommend it for that reason alone. But what else have you been playing recently, Jeff?
Let's toss in Legacy of Kain so I can get that that bashing out of the way.
We'll bring that up here.
Yeah, this game's really bad. All right, we can move on. So this is basically a video game version of a graphic novel that was raised on Kickstarter that everyone hated because the bait and switch of it being about Raziel and then actually end up being about his sister that was created specifically for the graphic novel. This attempts to inject her into every aspect of the lore that had already existed under the pennage of Amy Hennig. And yeah, like this is one of the most basic pixel platform hack and slash games I've ever played. There's basically an attack, there's basically a jump, there's basically a flying, and there's a parry that doesn't really work that well, and that's pretty much it. There's no leveling up, there's no skills, there's no heavy attack, there's no like anything that would garner any type of depth. This is the most bare bones effort I've ever seen on a video game. The story is absolute ass because, again, it takes player agency away from anything Raziel and Kain did and injects the sister on behalf of all of it. And the sister was created specifically by this the writer of the graphic novel and who is also in charge of making the game here. So the graphic novel feels like almost like it was a concept book for this game, or that this game is just a way to help sell the graphic novel. The game and the graphic novel end in the exact same spot. This game is just, it's not even remotely good. Like I think I gave it a 4 out of 10, which is poor, because that's what it is. It's an absolute poor game. Like, okay, here's the thing. Look at her hands. All right. So if you go back up to the artwork there,
Yeah,
and pause it. So pause it. All right. So take a look at the hands. She's got a glove on her right hand, and her left hand is bare.
yes, yeah.
Look at the pixel version of her.
It's not the same. Yeah,
It's not the same. And the thing is, in the story, her right arm was cut off.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
So, like, the concept art is correct, but the in-game pixel artwork is not. And that's a story element for her. So if you don't care about her story, then you don't care about anybody else's story, because again, they butcher the lore in this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it is such a slap in the face to Soul Reaver fans who have waited 20 years for a new game to get this absolute fanfic garbage.
Yeah.
I'm glad I skipped on this. I'm so glad.
It is absolutely awful. There is a mode where you can play through where you're invincible. So after a while, I just turned that on and I'm like, fuck this game. Like it is not even, and the flying feels like you're this tiny helicopter trying to pick up an island. It feels so heavy that the flapping of the wings just feels like you're just going to like break the game on every flap. It just feels so heavy. And then you have that targeting thing. There's one boss where if you just keep doing that, you kill them with no effort whatsoever. You just keep going. You just wait for the little X to show up and then boom, done, kill, boom, done, kill, boom, done, kill. Like it's this game is absolute just garbage.
Well, I'm glad I didn't play it.
Yeah, is like it's going to be a strong contender for worst game of the year.
Fair. Where do we want to go next? What else have you played? Anything else that you must talk about?
Well,
of course,
if
I know there
anybody-
is one.
If anybody has played anything else, you can go into that, because my last game that I'll be talking about is our thumbnail game.
It is. It is. Let me have a quick check of my screen here as I bring
Or
us
if
back
Keith
to
has played
our
anything that he can
actual-
talk about.
Elden Ring.
Keith, have you played anything?
Elden Ring.
Yes, other than Elden Ring last night to get the weapon, I've made you like, you know.
No, I had saw a guy do a video a couple days ago about a new build, and I was like, I want to try that, and I went looking for the weapon that you needed to have that, and I was like, wait, I don't have it. I beat this game multiple times. I don't have this freaking weapon. So while we were talking last night, I was looking for it. Come to find out, after I got done talking to you, and hours later, after people ended up saying, "Hey, do this for me. I need to do this, have this done by tomorrow," that I looked at my other character and I was like, I had it already. I gave it to my other character. I probably gave you one of the weapons too, because remember I gave you a bunch of weapons as
You
well.
did give
So
me, yeah, you did.
So I've had two of them. So you would probably already have one, and my other character just has it now. So I already had it.
There you go.
Fair, fair. Well, I have played a few things, so bear with me. First of all, I've played Beyond Words, which is a game that I actually really want to recommend. I reviewed it at Analog Stick Gaming. You can go and check that out right now. But it's basically if Scrabble and Balatro had a baby. That's what this game is. It's a word roguelike, essentially, structured exactly like Balatro, where you're getting different power cards and different kind of power-up cards to use on various runs, and you have a certain score to meet within each run, and meeting these scores earn you points that you can then unlock other things. But instead of using playing cards, you are placing words, right? You are placing words on a Scrabble board, and these boards are different. Like each round that you play, they all present different challenges. Some of them have like custom things on them where, like, if you lay a word on this tile, it will actually level up words of that length to be a higher level and get a higher multiplier. So if you like those kind of roguelikes similar to Balatro but are more of a word person, this is absolutely a game for you, and I really would recommend checking it out. Other than that, I've played something that apparently I'm one of the only people in the world that likes this game, and that's called Samson, which I reviewed at the Outerhaven. You can go and check that out.
Yeah, apparently I only ever learned of it today.
Oh, wow, okay.
When I was looking up
Interesting.
news, and it's like, oh, Samson is I have to stop saying Samsung. Samson is like broken. It's super glitchy, but it's
Yeah.
it's kind of neat. It's like a Grand Theft Auto game, but has consequences.
Yeah, I really like Samson for the pure fact that, and the price point should tell people this alone, this is a game that is on purpose limited. Okay, so it's limited in scope. It's a 10 to 15 hour video game, and it harkens back to sort of the early 2000s of open world games. Like, this is an open world, and it definitely has similarities with things
It's
like
a Dead to
GTA.
Rights.
It has similarities with things like GTA and Driver, but one of the main selling points of Samson is there are no guns. Okay, it's focused on melee combat, and basically you have your light and your heavy attacks. You can parry, you can dodge, and then you get, like, the enemies have a health meter and a stun meter. And if you deplete their stun meter, because it's weird, you don't build it up, you deplete it, they become stunned, and you can then pull off a finisher like your Kratos in God of War and basically clicking the right stick and it does a finisher. And then Samson has an adrenaline rush thing, which is like Kratos's kind of rage mode, right? Where Samson becomes able to deal and take more damage for a short period of time. And it's the way it's structured is you basically have a debt to pay in the game. You have a debt to pay, and to pay that debt, you have to take on jobs which are side content in the game. And there's various different types of jobs you can do. Some are races, some are deliveries in your car.
Like a set amount of money you can make per day. Like it's specifically structured.
Kind of, yeah. So the reason it's a set amount of money is because the way that days are structured is there are action points, and there are 3 time periods of the day.
Oh, so like Persona.
And once you've used these action points, you move to the next time period. Yes, it is similar to Persona.
I heard if you get like knocked out or killed, or like knocked out or hurt, you'll go to the hospital and then you'll lose all the stuff that you've done for that day.
Yeah, so kind of. So it's kind of. So if you get knocked out, you will initially, because this can be changed slightly through skills and things, you will lose any money that you are carrying at the time, and you will automatically advance to the next time period of the day. Okay, so you don't lose the entire day, but you do advance your time period.
Okay.
Where this becomes interesting is similar to Persona and other games that have this system. Certain jobs can only be taken on at certain times of day.
Okay.
But the main missions also can only be taken on at certain times of day. And also different jobs and different main missions have a different amount of action points that they require for you to be able to do them. So you have to actually think and plan ahead about what you're doing, because you will have a goal of money that you have to earn within a day, right? So
yeah.
Let's say your daily debt that's due is $3,000. So you have to look at the jobs and you have to sort of figure out, okay, can I get this $3,000 in 2 jobs to leave me time to do a main mission? Or do I not do any main missions today so that I can focus more on earning the money to pay the debt? Because if you don't pay the debt, these debt collectors will come after you, effectively. And what happens is, as they come after you and you beat them, if they come after you again, they get tougher and tougher. And there's like more of them show up and things like that. And that's a really cool system, because I found myself actually planning ahead, and then once I figured out how certain jobs would pay more or how certain jobs are slightly more difficult to complete than others, I had this kind of way of doing things, right? But what I would say is another system to be aware of is when you're doing a job, if you fail, you can either give up, which kind of advances that time period of the day for you, or you can use one action point to retry. So your action points are also a way to retry jobs instead of failing them. So if you've got a particularly high paying job, and you can be like, okay, do you know what? I was planning to do 2 jobs today, but actually if I do this one job, it's going to pay the majority of the money that I need. But then, of course, the other key part of Samson, which I haven't spoken much about, is the driving, because Samson's car is so key in this video game. You use it for takedown missions where you're basically ramming enemy cars off the road, and it's very Mad Max style. You've got like a nitrous boost. You can side slam your cars into them. You can actually do so much damage that you knock their wheels off completely. And then when you take down a car, it does the slow-mo takedown type of thing that we used to see in like the Burnout franchise. So I appreciated seeing that. But when you're taking on those kind of missions, you have to be really careful, because your car can get a lot of damage, and if it gets damaged too much, you basically total your car, and you then have to pay a couple of $1,000 in the game to repair it. So you then are using money that you would use to pay your debt to repair the car instead. I had a really cool gameplay situation where I'm on a chase trying to take down these two enemy cars, right?
Mhm.
And I hit one of them. But in the process of hitting and taking out one of them, I also hit a wall and I total my own car. So to make sure that I can catch the other car, I had to steal a car off of a civilian in the road and just start using their car. And it's like, but that was really cool because it wasn't like, oh, you've totaled your car, so you failed. I would have failed had they got too far away. But the fact that the game gave me that opportunity to kind of figure out another way of doing things was really cool, you know? So that was nice, and I really enjoy it. Yes, the game has some problems. It has some bugs. It has a few issues, all of that kind of thing. But it is not... I really think, and I said this to Keith, and I'm not going to name any names here, but certain reviews that we see for this game feel really, really nitpicky where they haven't understood what this game is going for. I don't know how else to put it. Like, this is a $25 video game that is 10 to 15 hours long. Currently, it's only available on PC, but it will be coming to consoles later down the line, I believe they've said.
Good.
And yeah, so I if you're looking for an old school open world style game that's a little bit more focused and you don't like this overly bloated stuff from today, I really, really recommend Samson. I actually think it's a good game that is getting better because they patched it yesterday, and I've just seen while I'm talking about it that it has another patch right now. So they are going to be improving the game.
This making this game?
So you know, we'll see what happens. But other than that, there is one other thing that I've played that I'll mention briefly, only because I haven't written my review for it yet, but I'm reviewing it at the Outerhaven, and that is Life is Strange Reunion. And what I would say is that if you're a long-time fan of this franchise, particularly from the original game, then there's a lot to like about Life is Strange Reunion. But the game does have some issues, so make sure that you tune into the Outerhaven over the coming days to find out why in my full review. But other than that, before we move on to the big one, Keith, do you have anything else, any other games you want to speak about?
Nope, none that I can talk about.
That's absolutely fair. Well, Jeff, since you have played the most of Pragmata out of all of us, and I've played a little bit of it, so I have some sense of it, we will bring up some demo gameplay here. But why don't you tell us about why Pragmata might be a game that people should be looking out for?
Yeah, so this game was originally announced and shown off in 2020, and the trailer didn't do anything for me. I didn't think it had any personality. I don't think it really showed what this game was going to be like. So like this, for example, here is what the second trailer they showed when they were delaying it from 2022 to 2023, because this game has seen a lot of delays, and then eventually it just disappeared off the calendar entirely. So Pragmata is another RE Engine game, so it has that look, it has that feel. You can definitely tell that this is made by Capcom. This is made by the First Division team, which is responsible for a lot of their big stuff. And this game is absolutely fantastic. I really, really love what they've done here. And now I can only talk to the story to a certain point. So basically, you play as Hugh Williams, who basically shows up on a um, lunar base with his team. He is separated from his team, and he ends up meeting Diana. And Diana is this little android girl who can hack enemies, and she has to hack through their defenses because his bullets are unable to penetrate the lunafilament, which is basically what these things are made up of. The whole lunar base is made up of lunar filament, and it's basically this massive 3D printer that exists on the moon that essentially makes everything. And so the only way that you're able to actually damage these enemies is by breaking through their defenses, and you do that with Diana. Now, there's different aspects of how you break through the enemies. There are the grid that shows up will have a start point and an end point, and how you get there and what passives and buffs and perks you pick up along the way will determine whether or not you're doing damage to them, whether or not you're stunning them, whether or not you are spreading that damage to all the enemies nearby, whether you are confusing them to the point where they will start attacking other enemies. Um, and you you then so you like you're moving to the green power up icon there, and
Yes.
every single enemy will have a different path to get there, a different size of grid depending on how strong they are. So bosses are massive, and sometimes, and then later on in the game, which I won't talk about, you have limitations on how you can move around that grid. And so as you can see, there's two little blue icons there. That will increase the damage multiplier. And then
Okay.
that particular one spreads the love to all the other enemies. And you'll usually
Ah.
get those upgrades at key points where the upgrade makes sense. So you're not going to learn the multiple one in a room with one enemy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That does make sense.
And so you move around this lunar base that has different biomes. So there's one where basically it's all forest and jungle because it's their like it's this the base where basically like trees are manufactured through this luna filament and so on and so forth. Because again, this shit can make everything. And then you have other ones that are you're either outside of the base where gravity is different, so your thrusters work differently. There's other parts that still feel like you're in the same base, but you're in a different area that has some different visual language to it. And so basically, you're going through this base trying to get to the bottom of this rogue AI named Itis. And Itis apparently has taken over the entire base and is just killing you on sight by sending these monsters and creatures your way. And you end up going to an area that is basically a full recreation of like Times Square.
Okay.
Well, like it's basically this New York, and it's got like billboards everywhere. Um, and as you're exploring, you're finding various upgrades and various new mods that you can equip. Things like, oh, your reload speed is quicker, but your gun does less damage, or like, various different perks that affect how the game plays and allows you to kind of have build craft to the different mods, because you can eventually upgrade to hold, I think, 5 basic mods. You'll also get upgrade mods to her hacking skills as well too. So like they'll do a variety of different things. And so that kind of keeps that interesting because it doesn't provide the same experience throughout the 12 hours that it takes to roughly beat the game. So hacking always feels different. I do wish the main gun reloaded faster because it's very easy to run out of ammo and then have to let that charge back up. And yeah, you can sit there and hack while you're waiting for it to charge up. But I just kind of wish there was like a melee, like electrical baton or something that just you could hit the enemies with. I am disappointed that there is only one kill animation for the enemies, like when you get like the assassin, the execution kill, where like the enemy is stunned, and then you go in and you can attack it. He just basically goes up, puts the gun in the same spot, and the enemy is just animated where that one spot is always there.
Okay.
The bosses have their own, because the bosses are big and elaborate and whatnot, so they can't always be just down on the ground like that.
Yeah.
But the gunplay just feels very, very good. There's a lot of different guns, and as you progress through the game, you'll get more, and then new game plus and all that kind of stuff will kind of expand on that as well. There's tons of outfits that you can get for the characters, even though I like the more futuristic outfits for Diana. I don't like the ones where she's dressed like a little Earth girl, because it just doesn't look right.
Yes.
But you have a jetpack. You have ways to get around the environment, both horizontally and vertically. There's just a lot like puzzle things where you're like going to get certain things to then build upon certain things. So if they're in the giant tree level, you have to get all these different things injected into the machines, and then it builds lunafilament to get you around from tree to tree.
Nice.
There's enemies that fire off like projectile enemies that you can hack back and revert back to them.
Interesting.
The jetpack helps you get around, and you can expand like how much it gets you around, how the height and whatnot. There's lots of places where there's like invisible walls, but once you get the ability for her scanner to show off items, the invisible walls become pointless, because you can just tell it's behind the wall.
That's fair. That's fair.
Um,
Well, I think that I've played a little bit. I'm impressed by it so far, and we can see, like, even in this video we're watching, which is MK Ice and Fire's demo gameplay. I was impressed by how the game looks from what I've played so far. Very nice looking game. Again, Ori engine. It's Capcom has a nice looking engine. But Keith, have you I don't think you've played the full game yet, but you have played the demo, right? You're on mute.
No, I'm not. I'm just debating what I'm going to say. So no, I have not played the full game, but I have played previous builds of the game that were more than the demo.
Interesting.
And I'm impressed. I was screaming that this game was going to be amazing when I first got my hands on it at Summer Game Fest. And I was like, this game's going to be amazing. And I'm glad to see that more and more people have started playing the game because they're reviewing it, or people play it because of previews or the demos. And they're like, wow, this is actually a really cool game. The fact that it marries, the shooter element with doing puzzles in the middle of combat segments. It's not just it's just a regular shooter. It's like, no, you got to do this. You got to pay attention to what you're doing. You've got to do these mini puzzles while in the middle of combat, and also dodging and figure out what's the best way to attack the robots. I'm very much looking forward to playing the full game.
Yeah, they're actually offering something different, right? And I like that. I do think that it's I will admit that when I first saw the game, and even when we saw it in consequential showings, I wasn't that impressed initially. But it was hearing people like Keith and others who played it in preview builds talk about how it was actually really interesting and doing some different things.
Yeah,
that got me interested.
Once the gameplay started to be shown, that we could tell what kind of game this was, I think it started to kind of open eyes, because the first couple trailers showed jack shit. Like, they didn't show really much. And the one thing that I'll say that is the game's best quality, and it does hold true right from the start and right to the end, is the relationship between Hugh and Diana is amazing. Like, Diana is probably the best kid that's ever been in a video game. She is cute and enduring when she needs to be. It's not like driven into your skull a billion times. Like, you'll come back from a mission and she'll have drawn something in crayon. She's like, look, and then like he will put it up on the back of like the upgrade station, because It's like the shelter, which is like this like hub world and this hub location that you're in, and you get to build these dioramas from things that you find that allows Diana to be this like kid going like she'll be on a skateboard and she'll be like, I'm gonna be the best pro skater ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
So and there's a lot of challenges as well too, like defeat these enemies in 60 seconds or reach this
Nice.
end, and then that's how you get better costumes and all sorts of stuff, because it gets you these
Nice.
points that go on a bingo board, and then that bingo board unlocks things as you get different bingos.
Yeah. Nice. Well, I look forward to playing more of it myself. I will, between recording and the time that you are actually seeing this, I will have played more of it because, as I said, I should be making the Outer Havens video review. I'm not writing the review. That's our colleague Andrew, who also reviewed Resident Evil Requiem recently. Let's just say he likes Capcom games, and
Yes.
and we'll get that covered. I'll make sure to share the Outer Havens review below, and of course you'll be able to read Jeff's review below as well. So make sure you check both of those out. And for more Pragmata discussion, stay tuned to the channel, because I'm pretty sure that once we've all played it properly, we'll probably reconvene for a full conversation about the game, and we'll see how we can do that. That'll be interesting.
Spoiler cast.
Oh, boy,
Yeah,
I
we
don't know
don't
those
get
things.
to do many of those, but maybe we should. That would be nice. Especially, I'm glad to hear that this game only takes around 12 hours to beat. That's actually quite nice to hear, because I wasn't sure how long it was going to be, and I do enjoy the kind of mid to short range games in terms of length now and again.
Yeah, this was
Just
as long.
because-
My playthrough was almost like to the hour of Requiem.
Wow, okay. That's interesting. For some reason, Capcom must really like that length of game. But if you have enjoyed this discussion, thank you for joining us. If you've stayed all the way through this episode, thank you very much. I hope you've liked it. If you have, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel for more. We are supposed to have one of these episodes every week. It doesn't always happen because life gets busy, we become ill, or we try and arrange guests to be on, and then that doesn't happen. But we do try and do one episode per week here on the Analog Stick Gaming YouTube channel. Of course, check us out at analogstickgaming.com. Make sure you check out the Outer Haven as well, where they do great work. And Keith, do you have anything that you want to kind of pimp for people before we get out of here?
I mean, you can always find me over at theouterhaven.net. Also, check us out over the Outer Haven over on Twitter and Blue Sky. As for myself, you can just Google Shadow Haxer. You'll find me pretty much everywhere. Google, Bing, Yahoo.
He's famous.
Wherever.
He's
everywhere.
famous. He's been on Giant Bomb, and he broke a chair.
No. They sabotaged me. They tried to push me to the ground, but I
Oh,
didn't.
you should write that sabotage into one of your reviews and pull a mind's eye.
I mean, no.
Oh
Let's not do
God!
that.
Oh
They're doing a
God!
good enough job sabotaging their own stuff. They don't need me to.
Absolutely,
Well,
absolutely.
yeah.
But Keith will have a review coming up soon that we can't tell you what it is. So
I
make
don't
sure
even know
you
what
look
it
out for
is.
that as well.
What is that? What am
Even
reading?
I don't know what
don't
it
know.
is.
And yeah, other than that, we will see you soon. I'm sure that you'll see my face pop up on the Spectator Mode podcast, which you can find at the Outer Haven. But thank you for joining us here on the Gaming Mix. And until next time, goodbye.
See you guys.